Welcome back to the Quiet on Set podcast. I'm Ewan Graff, and as always, I'm joined by Lachlan Teely.
Deciding whether I want to wear the glasses or not. On episode 222, Companion has arrived in cinemas over the past 2 weeks worldwide, and we finally caught up on it. It's the directorial debut for Drew Hancock. It stars Sophie Thatcher and Jack Quaid. I think this is going to be quite an easy episode, as the film was quite an easy watch. Something that I think I really needed, because I'm super tired today. I had a very long weekend. I had a wine tour yesterday, so I'm recovering today. I'm super tired. The jokes may not land today, but what is guaranteed is that Ewan has a lot to talk about.
Oh, yeah, no, as always, I recapped Sundance Film Festival earlier, I guess last week by the time this comes out, with Connor. You can find that out on the channel already, and we'll go over what is worth watch listing from the lineup later on in the show. Then I was also busy with TV shows this week. I'm making my way through Cider, Vinegar, season 4 of Mythic Quest, the new season of Invincible, as well as the latest episodes of Severance. I also caught Flight Risk, Wolfman from 2025, and the one from 1941. And things don't get less hairy, but definitely cuter, with Paddington in Peru that I caught up, and the funny and gory The Monkey, which I got to see ahead of its release February 20th. So it's gonna be a busy what we've been watching. Lachlan, get that companion list ready, and let's get into the show. We are professionals.
This is a professional podcast.
Yes. Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. Hello there. Which actually,
Did you
this
get
is gonna
me a
be
hat
a
as
bit,
well?
Yes.
So I've got Dooncam. It's just a camera with my Dune steelbook.
All right, welcome back. Lachlan, last week was last week your birthday week? Time flies weirdly when Sundance is on.
I guess so.
You know, I didn't send you a present. I'm sorry, but someone else in our team did. By the name of Kevin, the Belgium action expert. He sent you something there, and you have yet to unpack it. So we'd love to. Oh, he's got a nice little knife there. He's got a companion knife.
So excited for this. Ooh.
Oh.
Here we go. Oh, it's a movie. Shocker, didn't see that one coming. Let me get rid of all of this packaging and other paperwork stuff. Ooh, this is how it was presented. I probably should show everybody this. Just how it's presented to me.
Ooh, Motorway.
Oh, cool.
So I have a bit of background information on this. It's basically a part of, if you look at the company that does these movies, they basically, I think, have only 12 or 15 movies total that they like kind of do. And Kevin always picks them up as soon as they come out. He wanted to almost get you like David Lynch movies, but he wasn't sure what you already own. So he was like, nah, he doesn't want to risk it.
This I don't own.
Yeah.
This I have not seen, but I do know the name. I believe this is the guy that did that Walled In film that was on my watch list.
The Warriors Walled In. Yeah.
That I'm keen to see. A radically paired backed action film transforms driving into intensely existential test in the traditional Walter Hill's The Driver and Nicholas Wren Riding's Drive. This is have they got his name backwards? Is it Nicholas Wren Riding, or is it Nicholas Winding Wren?
I thought it was Refn something. Nicholas Winding Refn is his name.
Okay, so this has got an error on the back. Literally has his name backwards right on the end there.
What does it say?
Nicholas Refn Winding Drive.
Maybe if it's both of his last names, I don't know. I don't know. His spouse also is Liv Cornfixen, so I don't know, man. Or
whatever.
Wait, how can they? It doesn't matter. It's Danish. Who cares? We mixed them up with Norwegians.
Look at the best part. Can you see the runtime?
Runtime is 89 minutes.
Any longer, I wouldn't have fucking watched it. No, this is exciting. Thank you, Kevin. This is quite nice. I like this. Also, this is a sick fucking cover. This cover is sick. Look at that. This is dope. Yeah. I'm very keen into getting more involved with Asian cinema. Kevin, the Asian cinema guy in the podcast, is clearly very excited for me to get into it as well.
Yeah, I mean, he already roped me into it quite a bit. And if you watch best of action video of 2024, a lot of the best action films are actually coming from Asia, like unsurprisingly. Twilight of the Warriors Walled In was an amazing movie. Yeah, looking forward to hearing your thoughts on this one.
not the only movie I got this week, funnily enough.
What?
Yeah.
More
only
physical
movie I got this
media?
I got something
Oh.
for myself. I got something
Yeah.
for myself. Do you want to see?
Sure, yes.
Now-
Show me, please.
Before we started recording, I had a little freak out because I realized I have a better double feature pick, and it's because it's one of my movies. And I looked over and I was like, this is a fantastic double feature pick. So
Okay.
this is a bit of a spoiler for later on the episode, but I don't care because I think it's important that I show this off. It's a little fun one.
Lars and the Real
Girl.
Girl. I actually am not familiar with that movie.
You should search this movie up right now. Guess who stars
Okay.
in this movie?
It looks like
Ryan
Aubrey
Gosling.
Plaza. Oh, Ryan. Oh, of course you know the movie if it's Ryan Gosling is in it. Okay.
This
No, that makes
is
sense.
my double feature pick because
Oh, it's the one where he
Of
looks
course it is.
awkward.
yeah,
Oh,
it's-
yeah. I know the
falls in love
images
with
from
a,
it.
with a doll. So there's that,
Right.
and then I got a 4K, and this is super exciting because she has a movie coming out this year. It's a movie that I've wanted to catch up on fairly recently, and I saw that
Lynn
they're coming out
Ramsey.
with a 4K.
Is it Lynn Ramsey?
It is.
Ah,
It's,
you were never really here.
here
Let's go.
on 4K,
Okay.
and I'm super
Yeah.
keen for this because this movie was sick.
Yeah.
This, ooh, baby, can't wait to watch this on the 4K Ultra HD HDR for brighter, deeper, more lifelike colors as it advertises.
That's great.
My
We'll
original
definitely
double
revisit-
feature for today was going to be her, which is really funny because there's him in her,
Also
and
Joaquin
then
Phoenix.
there's you on the
Yeah.
cover as well with this fantastically made reflection. And then I thought, no, you know what? Lars and the Real Girl is a better double feature pick. So there's spoiler. Sorry, double feature pick. Look at
Yeah.
all these movies. Look at all these physical things that I own. Look at all these physical DVDs that are my property and they can't take it away because I'm not subscribed to a fucking streaming service so they can take it away.
Yeah, I don't have anything with me. I mean, I have stuff behind me, but also we on Valentine's Day we're doing a triple feature at our theater for the Before trilogy, which
So I was saying
clearly
we,
was
and I was like, what? Of course they're
this
doing a
guy's idea.
triple feature of the Before
This
trilogy.
guy.
This
yeah,
guy.
no, we're doing a Linklater series and that I programmed with a couple of his films, including the
That's
Before
exciting.
trilogy, and it was like, yeah. So if anyone's in the area, I guess come join. There's definitely some free spaces left. As I feel like everyone already has Valentine's Day plans if they are doing something with Valentine's Day, like way in advance. So it's not the easiest, I guess, timing wise. But I feel like it's
You know
such
what
a
I'm
fun
doing on
thing to do.
Valentine's Day?
The way that you set it up is like work, but I feel like no, you're not working.
Well, first of all, I'm
This is a
recording
Friday.
an episode of the Quiet on Set podcast because it's on a Friday.
Oh,
There's that.
God.
But
It's
two,
going
I'm
to
playing
be
golf
romantic.
with a friend, with a mate.
really?
Yeah. My other half, she's at
hitting
work.
hitting
So,
balls.
gotta go
Okay.
play some golf.
Yeah, top golf, like
No, actual golf. Like an
actual
actual
golf.
course.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And then we're gonna go to the driving
Alright.
range afterwards to just smack some balls and have a couple bevies.
Sounds good. I mean, it sounds better than my start to the week, which after like Sunday was the last day of Sundance, and I graciously enough was invited by a friend of mine who works for SRF for a radio show. Usually he talks about music, but he also is very passionate about like reviewing film, and he's been doing Sundance for a couple of years. And last year I got to go 2 days because he was press accredited, and we have yet to get into Sundance. Thank you very much. So we binged through the whole night watching 8 movies from the Sundance selection. One of them, Train Dreams, was deleted on us as we like wanted to watch it, which was very disappointing because that got picked up by Netflix and there was a lot of buzz about it. But we'll talk about like more of the Sundance stuff later on. But we were done around like 6 a.m. in the morning. I went back home. I was like, okay, I'm not that tired for some reason because I had 2 Red Bulls, and then I wanted to go to bed. And as I was like walking to my bedroom at like 8:15 in the morning, I wanted to lay down, and I just heard a bunch of chainsaws go off. I was like, great. Isn't Texas, isn't the 70s, no one's getting murdered, but maybe they're dancing with it outside just for fun. But no, over the next couple of days, our next door, not neighbors, because there's currently a bunch of refugees who live there, but the people who own the place massacred it all down. So I had the weirdest dreams about Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Everything that you can imagine, like the weirdest shit. I think someone made in one of my dreams a smoothie with a chainsaw. I think that happened at one point. Just because I was so tired, I guess, after watching Sundance movies all night. I had that weird indie film in there as well, with the movies I've just seen. And then just the chainsaw noises in the background made for one of the weirdest dreaming experiences I've had ever in my life. And it's been a bit annoying because it looks pretty disgusting next door. Basically, they're building a bunch of stuff that we weren't informed about. So I've been mad this entire week. Yes, Lachlan,
I don't mean to cut you off. It's just in regards to the companion list. When you want me to refer to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you said Texas Chainsaw Massacre, not the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I mean the OG.
Okay,
well, now
so
you brought up
the
the
Chainsaw Massacre. Okay,
the
now
issue
I've
is
got to reference the other one as well.
Yeah, because you
good
brought
point.
it up. So that was you gave yourself more work there. But no, it's just been a bit disappointing to see because we didn't get the information and they cut down every tree on that lot. And we can now see like over the whole hillside. It's just a bit annoying this whole week, and that kind of goes into after the press screening of The Monkey. We came out to more news that it's not looking great for Swiss film journalism and just culture journalism as a whole, and just journalism as a whole. Our biggest state-funded media place, I guess, is getting. It was like there's a plan to defund it. There's like an initiative to like half the yearly pay that you pay through taxes to them, from like 223 to like $200. But they're already cutting it to 300. So kind of in anticipation to that, there's just been a lot of cutting going on, or like programs, podcasts, like stuff that was super successful. They've all been cutting, like radio shows, which includes the friend that I just watched Sundance movies with. He found out that, hey, his team, someone might get fired. They don't know yet. Over the next 2 weeks, as he's in Berlin covering the film festival, he'll see if when he comes back he still has a job. And it's just been really disappointing because it's been happening like at the end of last year. It started, and it's just like the initiative we haven't even voted on it yet. But they're already cutting down like pretty drastically, and it's just eliminated a lot of jobs. Like specifically when it comes to like coming back to us with film journalism, there's like 4 people who work at SRF who do film journalism. 140% of like percentage wise for jobs, so 1.5 jobs are getting cut there. They don't get the funding anymore to go to international film festivals. And as a whole, as like a state-funded thing, it's just a really concerning thing to continue to see degrade. And I know we're not the only place where that's been an issue. It's happening everywhere, and not everywhere is it like public, in a way, like state-funded as much as is here. And there's still the privatized thing, like what we do, but we kind of do our work pro bono. We don't make any money off of it. But yeah, I just wanted to get those 2 rants out there because it's been bothering me all week, and I think it will bother me throughout this recording and for the next month. And I can't really do anything about it. Yeah, that's why maybe I'm a bit more on edge than I usually am. There's a lot to talk about, and I'd rather focus on the physical media that Kevin gifts you and what you got than this stuff. But it's a reality that I don't know. I'm just like, I've just been thinking about, okay, how can I contribute more locally? Because obviously our show is not catered at all to Switzerland, but I kind of want to do a bit more here because I feel like it is slipping away. And it would be a pity because it's like one of the things when a lot of the films that we want to cover don't even get a release because like if there's no professional, well done film journalism happening, then these things also die, and that's just really sad to me. But yeah, let's talk about something a bit more lighthearted, a bit more fun, which is the AI-centered companion. Which I'm so happy that they didn't choose a title that has like AI in it, like Afraid, and then they can make the AI part because it's like oh my god, Lachlan, it's the word, it's the word that everyone is talking about. Imagine it's companion, but everything is lowercase, but the A and the I is like high. They connect together, and like it makes a woman, like forms a body. That could have been something that they did, but it didn't. And this directorial debut by Drew Hancock is, I think, quite impressive. Moving from being the writer of Fred Free, Camp Fred, to this is definitely quite a step up. So Lachlan, what is Companion all about?
A billionaire's death sets off a chain of events for Iris and her friends during a weekend trip to his lakeside estate.
So from the trailers and from this logline already, I think you already get to hear a lot about the plot of this film. Like, I went into this not reading the synopsis, so I didn't know there was a billionaire's death that's involved, which also is misleading because he's not a billionaire, he's a millionaire. So that's maybe he's a billionaire, but
He has a lot of fingers
in stuff
in stuff.
Yes, exactly. It comes out at a runtime of 97 minutes, which is something that Lachlan really appreciates. You know, the 90-minute mark is perfect, but under 100, still good. Over on Letterboxd, it was received with a 3.6, on IMDb a 7.4, and on Metacritic a 70 out of 40 reviews. And it is by New Line Cinema and Warner Brothers Productions, and was made for about $25 million, and has grossed so far around $30 million internationally. A VOD release date has not been announced yet. Let's get into it and start off with maybe some of the story and the premise of it all. Because I think, again, like I said, the trailers already showed us a lot of the dynamics. It also, I think, has the voiceover narration from the start of it in there, so you kind of know what you're getting, because you get the whole movie told to you, basically.
I didn't watch any of the trailers.
Well, if you haven't watched any of the trailers, then maybe you're in for a bit more of a surprise. But
Yeah.
I think this movie is not about the reveals, because I found a lot of them quite pandering and kind of obvious. It's about the moments in between. And I think, like you said in the intro, it's a pretty lighthearted story overall. Even though there's lots of death and serious topics that are being tackled, it still feels like a fun presentation of it all.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. One major thing I think that my experience with this was, I either completely forgot what the trailers presented to me. I can't even remember if I watched any of the trailers other than the quick teaser with her hand over the cupcake. I think that's the only thing or the candle, I should say, is the only thing I remember with the entire marketing campaign. And that was enough for me to be like, I don't want to look at anything else. I don't think I remember watching any of the trailers, because I genuinely didn't know she was a robot until the reveal. I had no idea, because it doesn't have it in that little 30-second, not even 15-second reveal trailer before they released the actual trailer. I was just like, I'm going to watch it. And I think that genuinely gave me a better experience with the film, because I had no idea she was a robot. I had no idea what the film was about. So I genuinely went on a great joyride. And that joyride was, and I'm going to say this now because I'll get to it in a second, from the start to the end, I thought this film was very entertaining. I felt that the humor parts definitely didn't make me chuckle, but kept me entertained and made me laugh with how ridiculous moments got. I felt that the overall performances from someone like Sophie Thatcher and Jack Quaid were fantastic. I think Jack Quaid is someone we've really got to keep our eye on, because he's picking some really fun characters when he plays.
He does the misleading stuff quite well.
Yeah.
When he's the charming into, I don't want to spoil other movies, but he's played that role before.
He has. For me, this film was just a really, really, really fantastic date night film. To the point that it was a date night film for myself and Tanika. We went and saw it, and she had a great time. I had a great time, and I've recommended it to a lot of people to be like, hey, you should go see this movie, because it really is a fun, exciting time in cinema, and it's going to be enjoyable from start to finish. Not too long, not too short, perfectly entertaining. Even though the reveals, I agree with you, just are quite predictable, and you can see them coming from a mile away. I feel that the moment-to-moment scenes are just super entertaining. I felt that the overall technical ability of this film was polished. I don't think any of it stood out. I didn't really enjoy any of the cinematography. I didn't really enjoy any of the score or anything like that. But for me, the big thing that drew me through was just a really good narrative, and everything else was technically clean. Everything was just polished to a good degree, that none of it stood out as, that's kind of bad, or that kind of sucks. So for me, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, it never goes down that route of leaning fully into a like revenge, for example, from
Yeah.
like the director of The Substance, Coraline Farja, where like it's purely that survival drive, but it basically is also very much concerned with the limitations of the programming of like a companion bot like this, and how they are kind of tied to that. And I think they try to like stay close to keeping that reality up, but I think something like towards the end, which we can get into, because this movie has been seen on Letterboxd by almost 250,000 people already.
Oh, wow.
It's only been out for like 2 weeks in the States, but it's been quite popular.
What
So I
was its
think it
budget?
is safe to say 25 million.
Holy
I think
shit.
it's safe to say that we can definitely talk spoilers about this later on, because I do think towards the end it loses me a bit, because a couple of the setups feel too predictable. A couple of like plot contrivances are a bit forced in a way that I wasn't feeling it. But something that stood out to me, which is also pretty technical, is the use of the like sound effects. The punching, all of it is quite loud in the mix overall. And that to me is like, that is like popcorn type theater shit, where
Yeah.
it feels rewarding to hear like a punch connect and you can hear the flesh just because it's also in a way, whenever there is violence happening, it's usually directed at the people who deserve it most of the time. And then it is kind of or like it grounds it as well in the way that how over the top it is, because the acts of violence are so like over the top in the way that they are like presented. So I think it's pretty fun. I think, like you said, Sophie Thatcher and Jack Quaid are really good in it. I know some people are like a bit lukewarm on Lucas Gage. I just love him whenever he's in anything. I think he's really fun in this film as well. It's got a good energy to it. I think the soundtrack is good. I just was a bit I was a bit concerned when it starts off with a voiceover narration. I guess a bit of a slight spoiler, like it ends with the same voiceover narration. I just felt like I was handheld and pulled and led, when I think there was something at the core of this film that could have made for an even better movie. There were just a couple of shortcuts that it felt like it's like rounding it out a bit more and cutting off the edges, when maybe that would have been the most interesting parts of it. But as it stands, like it is, it's just a solidly entertaining movie, and I think for that gets a thumbs up from me, Lachlan.
As I said, from start to finish, this film entertained me to the point that I didn't realize that Sergey was played by Rupert Friend.
Yeah.
I had no idea it was him the entire
He
time.
really
I
is
couldn't
lost
see him
in
under
there,
all
yeah.
the makeup, and it wasn't literally until I saw his name at the end I went, "Holy shit!" He did such a fantastic job to entertain me, and again,
Yeah.
that is why it took me on a journey that was a lot of fun, and it was just purely entertaining. I get the Lucas Gage thing, like his character was fairly simple, and I felt like most of the other characters, other than Josh and Irish, were fairly simple characters that had like quick character arcs, and then they were over, or they quickly started and then they were over very, very quickly. But yeah, I just felt like this was just a fun little flick that wasn't too crazy on delving itself into any kind of interesting conversations, and that is perfectly
Yeah.
fine sometimes, and sometimes that is what I want. Sometimes I don't necessarily need it to go into its themes of sentience and its revenge, maybe story of what revenge is, and I just had a good time. I think that's probably
Yeah.
the best part about it, is that I don't think there's anything really negative to say about the film, because at the end of the
No.
day, I feel like it's just like an easy, like this is one of those movies where you're flicking on TV, oh, that's on, yeah, I'll stick around and watch it. It's one of those.
Yeah, I
it's
mean-
one of those movies.
I think what I did like, which was teasing that even in this very like entertainment focused film, you can have a couple of themes that are like interesting. To me, the most interesting one was between Kat and Iris, when earlier in the film she brings up that like there's a certain thing of where Kat feels like she is replaceable, and she's saying that to Iris. And well, I guess to explain my point, we would have to go into spoilers, so I'm gonna give you the spoiler warning right now. And when she later on, spoilers, when she later on is stabbed by Patrick, oh my god, major spoilers. It feels like she's sitting back down on the couch, and it's like, well, I have just been as replaceable for Josh as any other like of these companion bots have been to the others, in a way of like the second tiering of like this misogyny that is also coming through in Josh's character, where he feels lesser than, so he relies on this sort of thing through his loneliness, and then like the inceldom kind of speech comes in at one point as well. I'm not the biggest fan of like how Iris fires back, because she has a couple of good points about like, you know, needing to feel power and whatever, and then like she caps it off with like, oh yeah, you also have a below average size dick, and I feel like that's always like the pettiest insult that I feel like feels like it is like a big blow, but it's like I don't know. I feel like that is on a physical level. I don't know if it's needed. But she had a couple of great points about like the insecurities of him as a person, and kind of relying on having the upper hand and the power, otherwise he would just feel lesser than. And I think what I appreciated about the film is that it doesn't really give you the big moment of like, okay, this was bad, right? How they behaved. Let's explain you why it was bad. It's kind of implied that this whole uneasiness that you feel for this character is something that you pick up on by yourself. And then I was so taken aback when they end with the same voiceover narration of like 2 moments in my life when I felt like I had agency, or like or something like that. And I was like, day I met you, the day I killed you. I was fine with the presentation of like, she'll, I guess, kill him at the end, and we know this is where the story ends up. I don't know if we otherwise were to question how it would end. I don't think that was really up in the air, but it felt really cheesy and contrived to like end it on that again. It felt like I'm watching something that I wasn't supposed to pay attention to. I maybe glanced over at the TV every time a kill is happening, and then I can just kind of did something else again. And I didn't like that. I think that took it down a notch for me. But yeah, spoiler thoughts, Lachlan.
Spoiler thoughts. I found the kills unfortunately a little bit boring, and I thought maybe that could have been a little bit more flary in how it was presented. I loved the sort of not Deus Ex, but I guess Deus Ex style control that you have with this phone. You know, literally one button shuts her down. I felt like that is just, you know, she wants to make herself really smart. The
interface
middle
is
part of
very-
this film where she's, you know, playing around with her eye color and like how intelligent she is. Like as soon as she goes, oh, intelligence, bumps it up. I was like, okay, cool. We're gonna be engaging with a fun character here. I really enjoyed Iris overall as a character, even though she's not a real person. I think that, you know, there's some really fun elements here, and I guess I'm a real big fan of that sort of storyline. I just said Deus Ex, but Ex Machina of kind of, you know, someone who's been trapped, captured, controlled, has the ability to then escape. And I think that's where I saw a lot of similarities between it, which to the point that I got home and I was like so close to putting on Ex Machina, but I was just really tired because it was a bit of a semi-late screening that I decided not to do it. But it's something that I've put on my rewatch list soon to watch some of Garland's like older stuff. When I say older stuff, it doesn't have that many movies out, but it's mainly just Ex Machina that I want to watch, and probably Annihilation. But yeah, dude, I had a great time with this. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of storyline. It's interesting the way that they like set it up, and a couple of things I hinted at, like the jokes, the layered jokes of like Sergey being in dirty business, and it coming back to like him working literally in the dirt. That's the dirty business he meant. Like stuff like that. It's stupid, but it is kind of funny. And I like the dynamic between like Lucas Cage and Haven Guyland, like Patrick and Eli. I think those two. But to me, it was like obvious that Patrick was also a bot pretty early on. There's a couple of things like the wine bottle opener when that first got shown, and the way it was shown, I was like, well, that's gonna come back later. Didn't write it down. The second time it came up, I literally wrote down that this is going to be the final kill, and it was the final kill. Like there was just a lot of
You've
that
seen too much
on
Final
every level.
Destination. You've watched too much Final Destination.
How would that have anything to do with Final Destination? By the way, the monkey, I hoped it was, I'll talk about it later. I hoped it was going to be more like Final Destination. It was a bit less like Final Destination, actually.
That's because it's based off The Monkey, the short story by Stephen King, and it's not based off of Final Destination.
Well, the way that they presented the kills initially, it looked like a lot
that's
of,
fair.
like, literally the opening kill is a very Final Destination like in the film. But yeah, this was fine. It was entertaining, but it just in a couple of moments I wanted it to be a bit gorier. I wanted it to be a bit more witty, and the best parts were just Sophie Thatcher's acting. I think she kind of nailed this role.
The best part was the continuous meet cute or whatever it's called. With
the
Eli
TikTok song.
And, yeah, just so funny. Yeah, that shit was entertaining. And yeah, that was a lot of fun. I just found like the little moments in this movie were probably like the best part. I just didn't think that overall it was like super crazy. But I also felt that, you know, some of the bigger build ups, like eventually Iris getting to Josh's car and then Josh being able to remotely shut it off. I was like, okay, cool, no worries. That she obviously can't just escape, like, right? There has to be something else that pops up.
Yeah.
And then you have the cop moment, and that's a completely whole we have a third person coming in to this whole thing, and you know, her then speaking, was it German? Was again a little a little quirk. Okay, you didn't like the German?
The German was horrendous. It was so bad. And I think she probably said that she can speak a bit of German. I don't know. I can attest to like when she spoke Spanish or Chinese, or what was the other language that they didn't know? Telugu, which is from the southern part of India. She didn't speak it, but they brought it up. It just is a odd choice to use it when maybe another language would have been better, or I don't know, literally the use of AI. That would be one of the moments where maybe that would make sense to use AI there.
Most people aren't going to be actually, that's probably a lie. There's probably a lot of bilingual people, but there's going to be a small audience that it's going to hit. A bit like anything, you know, when Johnny Depp spoke French in Jean du Barry,
Jean du Barry.
People are going to be like, you know, his French isn't that great. People are going to pick on that, but I didn't care.
No, literally in this, she had...
For the sake of the joke, it was funny.
I think it was really... Because not a single word she got right. Not a single one. And that was... And she talks in German for quite long. And like the one back at the table when she says like, fuck you. And she says like, fick dich. She says, fick dich. And it's like the thing when the CH they can't do, Americans. And it's just, I don't know, to me it was like, if you want to make that joke, it puts me out of the movie so much because she's supposed to be. Like, you need to joke on that maybe it's bad. Otherwise, it is just a mistake by the film. It makes no sense that your AI bot is this bad at speaking German, if that makes sense. And now I'm talking like...
Now you can't speak English. Wow, look at that.
Now I can't speak...
How ironic.
Now I can't speak English anymore. I'll have to talk like this.
At least you can do the right?
This is how Swiss German people speak in English, because they can't speak it properly. That's how they talk.
Of course, too much. I think this movie
that was a bit let down. Like I was like, I on that alone, I could have it moved down a half a star, but it didn't. I was like, no,
really?
That's petty. It was that bad. It puts you out of the movie, and paired with the Patrick stuff of like how she turns him, reminding him of Eli after he did a factory reset, was to me also pretty dumb. It just doesn't make any sense. It's like implying that there's like an underlying thing under the AI. When you are working with those constraints, they're not sentient. And then towards the end there, with the fucking thing of maybe the modding enabled that, but it's just, I don't know, it didn't really come through to me. And then when we go back to that and she can't escape her love with her initial, like with Josh, not pulling the trigger, that to me was also pretty dumb, just because we wanted to have like a different ending moment there. A lot of it felt a bit forced. For the sake of entertainment, they cut back on like what made sense in the narrative, and that's fine. I can forgive it that because it was pretty entertaining. But I don't know. It was all right. It was, the more I think about it, the less I like the film. But it's entertaining. So that's that. Anyways, Lachlan, you got anything else you wanted to share about
Not really.
companion apart from your companion pick? Double feature that will go onto the companion list for this episode. So what would you pair up with it? I mean, you already told us.
Yeah, I've already spoiled it, but Larsen, the Real Girl, as I obviously got the hard copy for it. But my original pick was also going to be Her. And I'm also going to throw in Ex Machina in there because they all obviously tackle very similar things. Larsen, the Real Girl is mostly just because, I mean, she's not real. and that one's a bit less connected with the technology stuff. But with something like Her, obviously you have what's his name? Spike Jonze. Obviously his breakup with Sofia Coppola. There's the name. The duality of them both making a movie about a similar breakup, but with two different ways, and Spike Jonze going down that more AI route is a really interesting thing. So I really enjoyed that. Both also starred Scarlett Johansson, which is, kind of funny. And then Ex Machina is just because I talked about how this movie doesn't go into the themes of what it's trying to tackle, but if you really want to go into a movie that tackles those themes, but is also super entertaining, and its moment-to-moment stuff is spectacular, but its narrative is also incredible. Ex Machina is definitely the way to go.
There's also dancing.
There's also dancing, which this movie has dancing, and so does Ex Machina. Yeah, I think that's a fantastic double feature pick as well. There we go. There's 3 double features that I have picked.
Like I did last week.
Last week, Ewan did 3 as well, so I want to catch up.
Yeah. Well, there was no one who was forced to drink milk in this one, but they were forced to hold their hand over a candle, which I do like the ending moment of her like pulling off the skin of like the remaining thing with a skeleton hand there. I'm gonna pair it up with Baby Girl. I feel like that kind of power dynamic is also another more lighthearted film, less on like the action horror side and a bit more on the just erotic thriller type stuff, and I liked it quite a bit, and Lachlan hasn't seen it yet, so hey, maybe this will be a reason for him to go check it out, as it is already out on streaming as well. But that brings us to the end of our review of Companion. If you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. Actually, don't consider it, just do it. Leave a like and also leave us a rating over on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Helps us reach more listeners and hopefully not go under like my colleagues in SRF, even though when they were popular, it didn't save them. But we are independently produced, so every little interaction helps, even if you just leave a comment for engagement's sake. But let's get to what we've been watching. And Lachlan has a bunch of stuff that we've been watching, especially me, but I do see that you have a bunch of stuff on there as well. So I kind of want to hear from you first before
None of it is movies.
Ramble.
I was very lazy this week because of work, and also
we should start that gaming podcast, man. It feels like you're already ramped up for it. You're ready for it.
I still think this is like the best purchase I have made in the past 2 years is a gaming handheld, because in between like literally I've been taking this to work, I get a half an hour lunch break, I just go sit in my car because it's fucking hot and just sit in the air conditioning playing a game, and it is just so relaxing to kind of just switch off for 30 minutes and get out of your workplace, and that's the whole reason I sit in the car, is to get out of the workplace, but I just wanted to sit there on my phone. So I brought that so I could actually play some stuff, and at the same time, I played some other things just to pass the time. I just never had a moment longer than an hour to sit down. So this is just like literally just playing like things here and there. No Man's Sky, Ghost Runner, Crime Scene Cleaner are 3 games that I haven't played before. Other than No Man's Sky and Ghost Runner, I should say, because I did try playing those many years ago. But No Man's Sky is one that I was just looking for, like a space sim that was super casual, and that was it. Ghost Runner, because it's on my list. No Man's Sky is not on my backlog, but Ghost Runner was. So I started playing that. Yeah. Crime Scene Cleaner is not, and that's just a game that I had played months ago that I was just like, oh, what if I try picking this up again and see what it's like? But I also this morning started replaying Metal Gear Solid 3 because I saw that the remake has finally got a release date for August 28th, and I'm so keen for that. I just really fucking hope Konami has already got all the other games being developed right now, and if they're going to release it in order, then technically, I think, technically, in terms of chronological order, it would be going Metal Gear Solid 5, but that game is only 10 years old and runs perfectly fine, so I don't think that game necessarily needs a remake, but I would be super keen to see all the other games come out sooner rather than later, because I really want to replay the Metal Gear Solid series again, just because it's got such a great game. And then I've just spent way too much time playing Balatro. Not only just on my Steam Deck, but it's also on my phone. And that is that's dangerous.
Armed and Dangerous. Wait, sorry. That's just.
Oh,
a
and I
voice
watched
line
the
from
first
Marvel
20
Rivals.
minutes. I just watched the first 20 minutes of the new season of Invincible. Before hang on a second. Oh no. You can tell how much of a heavy weekend I've had because do you want to know something real funny?
What?
I literally went and saw a movie this week.
Oh, you saw another movie and you forgot.
I saw
about
a movie
it.
this week and I completely forgot about it.
But you didn't log it on Letterboxd. You didn't do anything.
I forgot to log it on Letterboxd because I totally saw a movie this week. Okay.
Wait, what did you see?
Here we go. I saw Presents. Soderbergh's Presents.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, that's not out for me yet, so I haven't seen it yet.
No,
What do you
okay.
think?
I didn't forget about it because it was bad. I definitely kind of just like completely forgot I went and saw Presents this week. Fuck, that's kind of embarrassing. That's really good. I think that for most people, they're not going to enjoy it. I think that it's definitely not a film that big audiences are going to go see. I think that it is a fantastic film, especially from a filmmaking perspective. I think you will appreciate it because as a film lover, a filmmaker in ways as well,
Sure.
we when we watch movies, we know
we filmmakers.
we
I'll take
it's
it.
a new game coming out on the Wii. It's called Wii Filmmaker.
Sure.
When we watch something, we obviously analyze it critically. We look at it from a technical standpoint. We also look at it from an entertainment standpoint. Yeah. And one thing that really stood out for Presence for me is the fact that obviously the film was shot from the perspective of a ghost. Now, by doing that, you take away two things because the film doesn't edit the scene. The film moves the camera throughout the scene. So you are switching between close-ups and wides and everything by the ghost presence, moving to and from the character in the scene. So immediately you take away traditional editing standards.
Is it just longer scenes then?
And
Is it,
you
like,
also
passing
take
through the
away
walls?
a traditional camera sense. No. It doesn't seem to be able to pass through walls. It seems like has to go through an open doorway because there's multiple times where it doesn't enter a room because a door is shut. So I'm not 100% sure what the full thing is. But basically, this film removes two major visual storytelling elements, and that's editing and cinematography, because my camera's fucking autofocus today is absolutely off of it. I don't know why. But basically, usually it's you. It's me today. God,
I was checking.
God, the
myself
AI.
right now.
But for me, I really enjoyed this film because it has to stand on its own two legs from a narrative acting standpoint, because the two traditional ways that you build tension and especially because this is not so much a thriller, it's definitely more of a drama with a thriller undertone with it, with a bit of a suspenseful moments and crescendo ending. It really has to draw on the performances and you kind of getting engaged with these characters and their story and their life, and the film does do that. It would have been better if the story was told from a more traditional way. I really do like the fact that they went out of their way to do it in this sense, because when it comes to editing, the only time you get cuts is between scenes. The whole scene is played out in one take, essentially. And there are pros and there are cons for that. And it's the same conversation I had when we watched 1917. The suspense for me was never there because there was no cutting to and from characters and moments, and you don't have that traditional editing structure to kind of build suspense. You don't have that with the cinematography as well because it's kind of omni there. I'm not saying the film is bad. I'm just saying I just don't think it's to the point that it's like super entertaining and engaging. But I still really enjoyed it. Like, I still was taken by the narrative. I was still enjoying a lot of the elements to it. I don't think I gave my rating for Companion, by the way. I think I gave it's 3.5 stars.
Did we?
For
Oh, I
Companion.
think we both didn't say our rating. It was 3.5.
Dude,
for both
we've
of us,
only done this for 222 episodes. We have no idea what we're doing. The reason I say 3.5 stars is that's the same rating I'm giving Presence, is 3.5 stars. I don't think I think I was at a 4 at one stage, but I just don't think that after sitting on it and obviously forgetting about it, I don't think I could give it a 4. But like, I enjoyed it for the complete opposite reason that I enjoyed Companion. Companion I enjoyed because it was entertaining. Presence is not in that same way of entertaining. Obviously, it's more of a drama than it is like a comedy thriller film. But Companion doesn't really have any elements of technical ability that made me go, yeah, this is really wicked. With presence is mostly a technical achievement, and the performances from the cast are fine. I just don't think they're like super duper engaging. I enjoyed it. It was good. It was interesting. It's one of those movies where the gimmick of the filmmaking got maybe a little bit gimmicky, but yeah, that's all.
I mean, that's what Soderbergh often likes to kind of test out.
I think you'll probably be lukewarm on it. I don't think you're going to love it. I don't think you're going to hate it.
I think Kevin said the same. Well, as soon as it comes out, again, it doesn't have a Swiss release date, but I've tried to be in touch with the international distribution, so hopefully we can cover it at some point. Or that.
The first time we got something before you.
That's not the first time, actually. Heaps of times. I do have a bit of leftover cleanup stuff to do with Sundance. I still have a couple of screeners that I didn't get around to that I think are about to expire on me, so I should definitely watch those. But there was one movie that I think you'd really appreciate, and it's called Obex. From Albert Burney that played at Sundance. He did a movie that also played at Sundance in 2021 called Strawberry Mansion, which was in the year where they still did unlimited passes. I think for like $400 or $500 you could see as many as you wanted to. And I think I saw like 65 movies in like 10 days. This was one of them. And Obex is just like kind of a step up from that, as it's about this character who loves to be inside. He's very uncomfortable with going outside. He has like TVs and technology all around him. I think it's set in 1987, I believe. And like there's cicadas that have just come out. They're on a life cycle of like every 17 years to come out of the ground, and there's like hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of these cicadas, and there's a background hum of these like there, and then he basically gets sucked into a game. The whole aesthetic is also in black and white. It's got some really great production design, and I was just blown away by it. It was a ton of fun, and I thought that you'd appreciate it too.
So what I'm hearing is it funny? Or is it more dramatic?
It has a bit of both.
Okay.
The second half is a bit more dramatic. I don't think it's like hilarious, but I laughed.
So basically, I'm hearing a non-color saturated Bo Burnham's Inside with less music.
Sure, yeah. There's also it's also a dog is in it that it becomes pretty important.
Okay.
No, it's just I gave this one a 9 out of 10. I think I had a great time with it. I think it's one of the standouts for me early on. There was no movie this year that was like Didi that I really, really enjoyed. That movie was, I think, in my top 10 by the end of the year. Or yeah, I think it was on the list. And it was just nothing that came up to like that level, although I didn't see a bunch of the buzzier titles that were in person only. Again, we do have a whole recap on there, and I think I did like my average rating. I have seen 18 movies at the moment, and like my number 9 is like a 6 out of 10, then another 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10, 7, 8, 9, 9. So I have 3 German. I have 3 ones that I gave a 9 out of 10, which I feel like is early in the year, maybe a bit, like maybe I'll come down on them a bit. But the other 2 standouts, one of them was a documentary film that was basically all assembled through police body cam footage of a disagreement in a suburban area of a town where there's largely a black population, Hispanic, all that, and then there's one older woman who keeps calling the police about like every minor little thing that annoys her, like I don't know, the children playing what she thinks on her land, and it basically is building towards something that we already know. It's about the stand your ground laws, which basically gives you the okay to defend your home by basically any means necessary. You can shoot someone, you can kill someone if they are on your property. And it's obviously about that escalation and what happens from it and the many other cases that it involves, but it stays on this one case and tells it through the body cam footage in such a compelling way that I think the limitations were actually the strength of this documentary. Was a big standout. I think this is going to be one of the best documentaries of the year. I hope we don't lose sight of it. But you know, last year we had Black Box Diaries, and I think Daughters come out of I don't know if Daughters also premiered at Sundance, but usually they're pretty good with documentaries. This is one of the best ones I can say for 2025. And the last one that had a lot of buzz was the directorial debut of Ava Victor called Sorry Baby. And that was also just all impressive all around. If you are looking for a movie that you said, oh, is there a bit of comedy in that Obex movie? Like comparing it to Inside. This one is, well, I don't know if I can say about like what it actually is about, because it doesn't specify in the synopsis, but it has some heavy topics, but then also blends it with just a full character of a person that is quite comedic at times. It has all of the nuances of like an actual a person in there, and I don't want to say much more than that. I feel like if you can go into this one pretty blind. I don't know if it's been picked up for distribution by A24, I believe. So hopefully we can expect a better release for it than Sing Sing. But this was my favorite out of Sundance. Really, really solid film all around. There's a kitty in it, and the scene with the kitten is probably like the funniest scene in the movie as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I think Omaha, Two Women, Serious People, Black News, those were also pretty decent, but yeah, nothing that blew me away from Sundance that I'm as passionate about as I was last year with something like Didi, and then later in the year with Black Box Diaries. But anything that like out of those three, what are you putting something on your watch list?
I'm currently making the companion list. And
fuck.
You love just shouting out fucking random movies from the year prior, and I'm just like, shit. Yeah, man. I'm keen for those top three that you just talked about. So I'll happily put them on my watch list. Actually, I think I already have for pretty much all of them.
And then I also watched some series. The one that I binged through fully was Apple Cider Vinegar, which is about the real life story. It's like they have like a tagline, a truest story based on a lie. Exactly. And it's based on the life of Belle Gibson, who faked her brain cancer and became like this holistic influencer that told people that through whatever, like eating a certain way, acting a certain way, you can cure your cancer, like to really break it down. And it's an Aussie story, you know, this all takes place like mainly in, I think, Melbourne and maybe Adelaide, I forget. But there's also a secondary character. Lead is played by Caitlin Dever, and then secondary by Alicia Adetman Carey. Mila Blake, who's in like someone who grows into an influencer as well, but she actually has cancer. It like kind of spreads from her arm to the rest of her body, and she goes through the sort of natural approach trying to like cure herself with like juicing, like certain smoothies, only drinking juice, and all of that stuff that I think was pretty popular in like the early 2010s of like, no, we are going against the grain of traditional medicine because it's not healing us. We need to think about it a bit more from a natural sense. Like we get through nature, we get all of the things that we need to heal and be healthy. It like is very caught up in the back and forth drama of like how much Belle Gibson is just like lying her way through everything. And then it also likes to present, like it starts off every episode by one of the characters like addressing the camera and reminding us that it's like based on a true story, based on a lie, and that Belle Gibson isn't getting money from this her story being told and stuff like that. And it's just like, it's very like, we have something here, we are showing it, we're like doing it right now. Ooh, don't we are? Yes. Something about it is like quite cringy. I ended up giving the whole series like a 6 out of 10. Not one that by the end of the year we'll talk about like either for performances or for the filmmaking as like one of the best shows of the year. And then you said you started watching Invincible season 3. Yes.
Before we pass on to that, what I will say is I have listened to Caitlin Dever's accent in the film, or TV show, I should say, and sounds pretty spot on to me. The Aussie accent's
she's great.
Not an easy one.
She's great. Well, I guess I said for performances. I think her performance is really good in the accent work she does, but that character is so grating, and it's like done over and over and over again. I
I just
wouldn't
want
be
to say the
surprised if
accent's
she's
very
like
difficult to achieve sometimes without putting it over the top.
I think she like, I was never questioning that she wasn't like Aussie. I think she did that pretty well. Her voice itself, the voice that she puts on for this role, is so grating. I don't know if you listen to it for a bit longer, but it's like the type of voice where she's so full of shit the whole time that it is really hard to listen to. It's like that part of it she nails. Yeah, I think she definitely is the standout of the whole series. But again, I would be surprised if this was like up there for anything other than like her performance that we talk about it like at the end of or like at the Emmys in a couple of months.
Yeah, cool.
But then yeah, you said you started season 3 of Invincible as well, right?
Yeah, I started watching it when
20
I
minutes?
was waiting for the movie to start. That's what it reminded me is I watched Presences that we talked about Invincible for a hot second, and I was like, when did I watch Invincible? Oh, that's right. I watched it when I was in the cinema waiting for Presents to start.
So I think the second season of Invincible, I mean, it kind of came and went. Like you caught up with it, and I think it's not really. Also, this season, it's just kind of releasing. I didn't see much marketing for it, and I do have to say, it also feels like obviously the episodes are quite long, but there's not like as much of a polish behind the animation in a lot of this. It's very much it's got to work. It's got to have the impact moments, but it's not like scenes where people are talking to judge each other. There's a lot of animation going on. I think it's, for the storyline itself, pretty fun so far. I've only seen the first 3 episodes that are also publicly available, and I'm entertained. I think the series is fun. I think the first season is by far, though, still the standout, and I hope that they can kind of build on that. I can see where the storyline in season 3 is kind of going, and the show has had some like detours that were quite fun, so I expect more of that in this season. There's going to be, I think, 10 episodes in total, and I mean, so far I'm pretty entertained. So I'll keep watching it, and I'll report back when the season has wrapped in about like 7 weeks, I guess. And I also watched Mythic Quest season 4. That one is also airing at the moment. I got to see all but 1 episode through screeners. There's 10 episodes as well. I got to see the 9. This is a show that you are not caught up with, right? Or I don't know if you even watched season 1 of it.
Started it. I haven't watched any of it.
It's one, with Rob Delaney. Rob McElhenney, who most people will probably know from his ongoing role on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He's, I think, also in a more like writing role or producer role involved on this show. And I think this show has not figured out its tone going into the 4th season. Because I think it has that sort of aspiration or like the kind of mold of creating a ton of pretty despicable characters. There's at least something that you can hate about every one of them, which is something that they also do in It's Sunny in Philadelphia. Like, they're all pretty despicable characters. The thing about Sunny is that there's no bigger ongoing storyline that they kind of have to fall back into. And Mythic Quest always has a storyline, something new releasing or like someone being on a journey of their own. And it just doesn't really work. I think the show just fundamentally, there's something wrong with it. It's sometimes pretty funny still. There's a pretty hilarious moments every now and then. But like I don't know, I'm like at a 5 out of 10 for it. I think it also was never that much better. Like for example, when I first started watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, it took a while for me to get into it. By the later seasons, I was like, yes, I'm vibing with the humor. It's great. Whenever there's a bit of time that passes and I see like a clip of it, I'm like, this is not funny. It's not working for me. So it's kind of a thing where you need to be like really in the like in the world with the characters, all of that. And I think Mythic Quest hasn't been able to pull me in enough. It's pretty disappointing overall. Severance is still out. I guess we'll do like a season review. I know you started the show as well, like last week, the first season though, and it's pretty solid so far. I think the filmmaking is amazing in it. The performances are great. I'm wondering where the writing and the narrative, like, where is it going? So far I'm not like holding my breath for every new episode. So I think I'm intrigued, but it still has to deliver on me that this whole like saga that we go on is worthwhile. And I know a lot of people already enjoy the mystery of it all. I don't really, because I don't see the amount of setup that they do, that like whatever the payoff is that it's going to feel like it is enough. But we'll have to wait and see. A couple of quick movies that I watched. First up, Flight Risk. It's shit. What do we expect from a Mel Gibson movie that stars Mark Wahlberg? Topher Grace is also in a really bizarre role in this, where he's angsty. No, he's not angsty. He's always afraid, but he's also yapping the whole time, which is something that Topher Grace does great. Like, he can do that well. It's a pretty dumb movie. I don't know why I watched this. I gave this a 3 out of 10. Also watched Wolfman, the new one, and the one from 1941. I wish that Lee Vanell had made like a more interesting movie, but it's unfortunately then pretty boring. Yes, this is Wolfman, and it's about like the generational trauma that you can pass down to your children, and in a way like being infected by the Wolfman and protecting your family, and like there's a lot of like I don't know, basic themes in it that could be interesting to explore. I don't think it ever gets there. 1941 film by George Wagner. I think I enjoyed a tiny bit more, but it's not a much more. It's not that much better. Also has some pretty obviously dated gender roles that a bit hard to watch, but it's fine. And then I watched Paddington in Peru. I think we're both great fans of the first two. Paddington in Peru though is it's okay. It's just the thing is, it is just okay, and that is a bit disappointing for a franchise that so far only has had like such pleasant films. And this one, because it is like a road trip, a bit more like a bigger trip into, not a road trip, but like a bigger like not fantasy, an adventure. And these other films have felt a bit more grounded in like the comedic bits and like charming, sweet moments. And you just don't get to do that as much in this film. So it feels like, I don't know, Paddington just plugged into a generic adventure plot. And I was a bit underwhelmed, gave it like a 6 out of 10. It's coming out this week, I think, in international theaters. It was in the States already, in the UK last year, and now it's coming out in the States. Then I watched Unstoppable and The Fire Inside, two fighting films. Unstoppable is about a wrestler with one leg, and it's based on both of these films are based on like a real person. Here, played by Jerome in the lead role. He plays Anthony Robles, and we got Jennifer Lopez as his mom in there. It's basically like the type of sports story about someone defying the odds, grinding the most out of it, while also tying it back to like the real life limitations of like how he's living, paycheck to paycheck, not even having the paycheck, providing for his family while he's trying to get an education. There's an stepdad that comes in that never really sees him as his own son. A lot of that like drama that works pretty well in movie form. It never went above and beyond, like being super inspiring in the way that it presented its story, but by itself, the story is pretty fantastic. So I gave that one a 6 out of 10. For The Fire Inside, we got a 7 out of 10. It's even though we do have a protagonist here with Clarissa T-Rex Shields, who's like an undefeated boxing champ that, it doesn't make for the most compelling sports movie if your lead is just like the best, the best, unequivocally the best. So she just kind of beats everyone. The latter half of the film is a bit more concerned with there's not any money in boxing, and specifically in boxing, in women in boxing, because there's a certain stereotype and expectation that people still place on like women in sports, that is about like the pretty presentation and not about like the violent beating each other up type. And that part of it is can be pretty interesting. I think the standout here is Brian Tyree Henry, who has never delivered a bad performance. Even wasn't he like in Eternals? Or I remember, yeah, no, he was in Eternals. Like even there, he was good. So he really is great in this. And if you like sports films, there's two for you there. And then lastly, although they didn't give me an embargo, I feel like there's not a ton of people who have talked about it yet. I'll just do it, and maybe they'll strike me down. But Osgood Perkins' new film, The Monkey, is out. Is out in 2 weeks, and I got to see it ahead of it. It stars Theo James as the twin brothers Hal and Bill. There's also a couple of, I guess, cameos in here that are listed as bigger roles than they actually are. but it's about this toy monkey who doesn't like to be called a toy monkey, that whenever he like does this to his trombone, to his this little thing, whenever he does the last strike, someone dies. And don't wind him up because there will always be death. So it's about like that premise of these children that pass down from their father, get that monkey, and the deaths that ensue from them being just a bit too curious to turn it, and then later on also that thing being turned. The question is, who's turning it? And I just hope that like a lot of the monkey kills were more on the side of Final Destination, where like there's a crazy chance of like one of the kills is like a rat nibbling on like a rope, and then something happens. Like it kind of does a bunch of things, and then a couple of things just like it's just random. It's just like causing like death through illness or like some weird unlikely thing, and that to me was less rewarding. The movie also is tonally a bit all over the place. I think still, Lachlan, because this is one of your most anticipated films, and it was for me as well, that you'll have a great time with it. I just don't, I'm really curious to hear from you then. I just don't think the movie was very funny. There's a bunch of moments that just kind of lull. And I hope you have a better time with it than I did. I was a bit let down. I gave it a 6 out of 10. So quite low rating. I was really hoping for like an 8 out of 10 banger. But yeah, that's my yapping done. Lots of stuff that I saw this week. Luckily, there was also a bit of news that came out. Notably, 2 other guilds, the critics and the directors, who voted on some awards stuff, and they crowned Anora the winner for, I guess, best film by the Critics' Choice, and also the Directors Guild voted, I believe, for Chan Chu as best director, which was a bit surprising. Like, I don't know if you had that on your bingo card, that Chan Chu gets any directing awards.
No, but good for him.
Yeah, no, good. I mean, I would, that's pretty good for him, I guess. Yeah, I mean, we also had Demi Moore, who won for The Substance again. Anora won Picture. Saldana won Supporting Actress. Actor went to Brody. Comedy was a tie between Deadpool and Wolverine and Real Pain. Yeah, no, yeah. Supporting actor went to Kieran Culkin. Animated feature to Wild Robot. And composer to challenges, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross, as they should be, because it's, should be up there. And yeah, there's a couple of other stuff. They also voted on, I guess, like TV stuff, but screenplay went to The Substance, for example. So that could be like something that I think like the Oscar experts here, a channel that we subscribe to as well, and we like, Cole and Justin, I think believe that Anora is now back to being the front runner after the whole debacle of like Emilia Paris that we broke down in our last news stream. If you want to hear more about that, we won't get into it again here because Lachlan has yet to see Emilia Perez, but it's definitely not relevant for the Oscar picture anymore, apart from maybe Zoe Saldana. But I think the rest of it, it's definitely going to go blank. Anora, I feel like I would be happy about that winning Best Picture. I don't know about you. I think you would agree with that, right? We'd be down for that.
Ramel Ross getting first time theatrical feature is also absolutely wicked.
That's great.
Nickel
yeah.
Boys. I'm just having a quick squiz through all of these lists. There's so many big lists.
So many. Yeah, I haven't had a look at this myself, to be honest. Because we don't lie when we say we don't really care about all of these awards bodies, but
yeah, it's great in the moment.
Editing went to challenges, by the way. It's crazy that Challenges wins Critics' Choice, but isn't even nominated for an Oscar.
God, that kind of is crazy. My boy Luca deserves some praise for that film.
Luca Di's editing.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And there's nothing else really that's jumping out at me that makes me go, yeah, I should really shout this one out. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much it for the news again. News live streams on Mondays. But we do have a couple of new releases coming out on this Valentine's weekend. So if you want to take your significant other to see the latest from the MCU, then you can go do that with Captain America Brave New World. You can also cuddle up with a UK bear in Paddington in Peru, or watch a smaller drama like Armand That was unfortunately not Oscar nominated, but it's a pretty solid one with Renate Reinsve. That's out in theaters now. Or you can also go see the documentary on Led Zeppelin becoming Led Zeppelin.
Out in limited release, you can catch in selected theaters the Oscar shorts for documentary, live action, and animation. Na Za 2 is a animated Chinese film which has had crazy numbers, like absolutely crazy numbers come out right now, which is absolutely wild to see. Universal Language, I believe it's a French Canadian film, comedy. Don't know much about it. Heard it's kind of pretty good. Go catch it.
Set in Montreal, but it's like a Iranian like mix between the cultures that is like it's slightly fantasy. It didn't connect with me because I'm not Canadian, but yeah, for those
that's my line.
Be something for you.
And you can catch Harry Potter 1 to 4 re-releasing through Fathom.
Lumos. Yeah, no, I always need to do that. Just to give you your dosage of cringe. Then out on VOD this week on the 10th, we are getting The Witcher, Sirens of the Deep over on Netflix.
On Feb 11th, you're getting Better Man on Premium VOD, the Monkey Man, real Monkey Man film that we got last year. Hard Truths is coming out on VOD. Omniloop is coming out on Hulu, and One of Them Days on Premium VOD.
Then on February 13th, just in time for Valentine's Day, we are getting Bridget Jones' Mad About the Boy over on Peacock for those who are, I guess, peacocking and chilling. I don't like saying that. The better film, though, out of the two is Takeshi Kitano's Broken Rage that we raved about, and I will make Lachlan watch it. It's only 67 minutes long. There's no reason for you to skip out on it. Just a great bit of fun. There's also La Dolce Villa that is streaming over on Netflix, and Sly Lives, aka The Burden of Black Genius, is streaming over on Hulu.
On Feb 14th, we get Flight Risk on Premium VOD. You heard Ewan review it a little bit earlier, but now you can finally watch it yourself, not going into cinemas. Flow is coming out on Max. We both absolutely loved that animated movie last year, but definitely go catch it on there. The George is what I've been calling it, but it's The Gorge, coming out on Apple TV+. I know Kevin's super excited for it, and I'm super excited for it.
He's already seen it.
The stupid... Oh, you've seen it?
Yeah. No, he's seen it because I gave him the screener access, and he watched it yesterday. He was excited for it.
Okay,
it's an embargo. He hasn't told me yet. Well, it's embargoed, so even he respects that a lot. He didn't even tell me what he thought of it.
Can't wait to hear what he says about that. I believe it's The Inheritance is coming out on VOD. Longlegs
There's
is
like
coming
17
out
movies that are called like that. Sorry.
Yeah, literally. Longlegs is coming out on Hulu. My favorite movie of last year, so definitely recommend go seeing that. And I haven't seen any of this. Yellow Jackets season 3 coming out on Showtime. Go watch it. I don't give a fuck if you do. I haven't seen it.
Season 1 was pretty decent. Season 2 was a huge fall off. Season 3, hopefully they're back on track. We'll see. And then I'm invited to like an event for the White Lotus season 3. I already have screeners for the first couple of episodes, but I haven't watched them yet, so I can't tell you anything about it. But this Wednesday, I'm invited to like a little premiere evening where I think I don't know, I've never been to like an influencer event like this, which I wouldn't consider myself, but they also invited like film journalists. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll report back on that next week and also be watching the first couple of episodes. But the White Lotus season 3, have I even said what it is? The White Lotus season 3, going Thailand, coming to HBO, and I'll be watching.
And coming out in Australia this week, obviously Captain America Brave New World is the big release. Yeah. Bridget Jones, Mad About That Boy, the sequel that I don't think anyone was asking for, but here it is.
Like the fourth one. Kelly was asking for it. Deep
the Kehi really?
Yeah, she loves that. She loves the
one
Bridget
person.
Jones series.
There we go. Hard Eyes is coming out. It's a horror film, and yeah. I literally am only hearing about it, I think, from right now, so it must be fantastic. It comes from Josh Rubin, who did
the time slasher things.
No worries then, he did that. Neizar 2, that animated Chinese film that is just blowing up, so maybe I have to go watch it. I haven't seen the original. I'm assuming it's a sequel because it has the number 2 at the end of it, so
hey,
maybe I just won't even watch the original or just go watch that. And Spider-Man, it's misspelled in the doc. I'm going to say it the way it's said in the doc because Ewan wrote it. Spider-Man Farm from Home. So if you're looking for the next Spider-Man
No, these are
movie-
re-releases. I saw that like it says it's an extended cut, and I
Yeah.
believe that was intentional. And this is the extended cut of
Where
Spider-Man,
he
just like
farms.
where he becomes Spider Pig, and he's it's a blend with the Simpsons universe. So that's Farm from
I feel
Home.
like this part of
then-
the podcast is the worst. This part of the podcast is like the worst.
No
part.
one watches until here. You gotta,
Yeah, it's fine.
I don't know, put down Lachlan is a flight risk into the comments if you're still here. And then out in Switzerland this week, you're also getting Bridget Jones' Mad About the Boy. Although that one is streaming over on Peacock, it is getting a theatrical release here. We also are getting Captain America: Brave New World. Then Queer comes out this week, and I'm doing a movie fight club for it again. If you are in the Zurich area, come swing by. We'll watch the movie, and afterwards, I'm debating on the pro side of Queer why it's good. There will be someone else who's like against it, against being queer. Oh no, against queer. That's not a great look. But I'm pro, so be on my side. If you're around, we'll make sure to link that on our socials. And then on Becoming a Guinea Fowl, a smaller film that ended up winning the best feature film prize, the Golden Eye at the Zurich Film Festival last year, is also coming out to theaters. But that brings us to the end. Lachlan, next week we are gonna talk about Captain America: Brave New World. Yes, we are actually doing it, but to also balance it out, if that one is just going to be something that we rag on and just say it's not good, hopefully we get a decent movie. I'm not going in with the expectation of disliking it. I hope it's solid. We'll also be talking about Broken Rage, because that for sure is great. I've already seen it, and I can't wait for more people, our audience, and Lachlan to go check it out. But stay tuned for that. We'll be back next week.
Bye.
Do you guys want to see my cool Pikmin? I got a bunch of cool Pikmin. For example, look. Wait. Let me grab you a cool one. Look at this one. This one has like little antlers on his head. It's way too bright, but look, it's got a little antler on his head. Hold up, I got a cooler one even. This one is in a bus. Look, it's blue and it's in a bus. It's like Pikmin, but it's hiding in a bus. Oh, wait. This is one of my favorites. It's a rock Pikmin, but it's got a banana on his head. Look at this. It's got a banana. Wow.